We're taking you back out to a live look from Israel. The United States and Israel launched a joint attack in the Middle Eastern country of Iran overnight. Right now, we do not know if anyone was injured or killed, though Iran is beginning to report some deaths. We'll come back to you with that information when we have it verified. We'll keep checking in throughout the morning for the latest updates and bring them to you when they come into our newsroom. But right now, senior political reporter Jason Whiteley joins us on Zoom, I believe. Here we go, to bring us more perspective on the situation. Jason, we saw something semi-similar just last year. This doesn't come as much of a surprise.
Yeah, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone who's watched politics, who watched the State of the Union, who's listened to President Trump, or any Republicans over the last 6 or 8 months here. Remember, it was last June when President Trump launched the attack to try to take out Iran's nuclear capabilities. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about. This is about Iran getting a nuclear weapon. And the administration, previous Democratic administrations, Obama, Biden, President Bush, others have always thought if Iran ever gets a nuclear bomb, that would destabilize the Middle East. That would put that would put Israel in jeopardy and U.S. interests in jeopardy as well in the Middle East. So this is about taking that out. But what's different here is that this is likely not going to be a one and done military attack. This is likely going to be sustained attack over a number of days, because the president says he's not just about taking out Iran's nuclear capabilities. He is about regime change this time. You remember last month, in the beginning of January, there were a lot of protests, student protests there in Tehran, the capital of Iran, against the Islamic regime there, protesting a number of things, how strict the regime is, but also other daily things. Tehran is almost out of water. People may not realize that. Tehran is down to about 10% water in its reservoirs. And as we look at this video here of the different attacks and it happened in the middle of the day here, the smoke rising, the bombs going off in this major city of 10 million people, it looks like the attacks, according to the president and the Pentagon, are targeted towards military installations, towards regime installations. But at the end of the day, Natalie, I wouldn't expect this to be over with anytime soon here. There's no way the U.S. is going to put boots on the ground there. This will be a missile attack from the ships. This will be an air attack. But this is likely going to go on for a few days as the president tries to take out the regime there, making it easier for those protesters to go in and set up a brand new government, which is substantial. At the end of the day, it's been 47 years this month since the Shah of Iran was overthrown and the Islamic Republic began there in Iran.
Yeah, Jason, I want to circle back to something you mentioned a little bit ago about how the threat against Israel would be quite great if Iran were to reestablish its nuclear weaponry. In the last couple of minutes, Iran says that President Trump has, quote, turned America first into Israel first. And we saw Senator John Cornyn release a statement showing his support for President Trump and the United States and Israel attacking Iran. Do we anticipate any backlash to the president for these overnight strikes that did not receive any Congress approval?
Yeah, that's a good question. And Democrats will say, listen, you've got to come to Congress. Democrats said that after what happened in Venezuela with the decapitation of the regime there, the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. But at the end of the day, there are going to be a lot of Democrats who say, oh, well, let's leave the regime in Iran. It makes the Middle East stable. Democrats and Republicans have both been against this since the get-go. And I can't imagine that there will be a lot of protest to that. There will likely be protest, and we haven't seen any reaction from Texas Democrats yet about the president taking this action unilaterally without checking with Congress. But that usually doesn't happen in events like this. At the end of the day, though, this should not be a surprise to Democrats, to anyone else in the Middle East, to any of our other allies in Europe or in North America who have watched what the president has said about Iran. He's moved, 30 or 40 different F-35s, which are made by Lockheed over in Fort Worth. He's moved those to the region. He's moved a number of F-16s, 2 aircraft carriers. So the buildup has been going on quietly for a while, and finally he's putting those to use. The political reaction, though, Natalie, it's a great question. We're going to wait and see what happens with that.
Senior political reporter Jason Whiteley. I believe you're going to join us a little bit later, so hopefully viewers stay with us to get the latest on this and more analysis from you. For now, we'll take it to break.